everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Captain Zeus, that is the Wanji, and that is a relatable panda, and we are
What's
Nerds
up?
and Squares. Yes, it's splendiferous, to have you guys here joining us today on this fantastic adventure of nerdisms. No?
Nerdisms. Sounds
Nerdisms.
nerdy.
I mean, what do you think the podcast
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and go into this then. Today's topic, or, topics, is going to be about the Snyder Cut. Because we're super excited about that, and we've been waiting for this for, what 3 years? Four
I don't know.
years?
Since we got the monstrosity.
Since we got the monstrosity known as Joss Whedon.
We don't speak his name.
Oh, you gotta love the digitized
It's you know who.
mouth. The digitized mouth, because he doesn't know how to just work with a mustache in there, I guess. just real quick, one of the cringiest parts was the beginning, where there's these kids like pretending to be fans live streaming with Superman on their
my
phone,
God.
and there's like the whole mouth moving. He's like,
You want to answer some questions for a podcast? No, never mind. Not that one.
oh god.
What?
It was so bad.
God, so many bad things. Yeah, we'll just go into this topic of so many bad things about the Joss Whedon cut. There was that. The fact that Flash didn't know what he was doing, I wasn't a fan of that. That could have been part of the original script, but I wasn't a fan of. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just push people. How did you get a freaking high-tech costume if you weren't going to be a superhero, kid?
Yeah.
I mean, that probably spoke to like a little bit of a relatable factor though, and that's I guess what they were trying to go with. I personally found it kind of funny because it's like that it's dumb, yeah, but I think that's why I found it funny. But they were probably pushing like a relatable factor, which I'm all for. Yeah.
You know what I noticed too? Wonder Woman had like lipstick and makeup on, but it was so obvious and like not the best. And I was like, she doesn't need that.
That could have been just you. I didn't notice that.
Oh, I noticed it because in Wonder Woman she ain't got none of that stuff on. When you look in just Joss Whedon League, she has like hella like lipstick on. I mean, it's not like schmutz all over the face, but you can tell her lips are like strawberry on there.
Her
You know
links.
what I mean? Yeah, her links. I try to link something with those lips. Anyways.
Anyways.
Drinks water nervously.
Yeah. Yes, please take it away from me.
I mean, when it comes to the Joss Whedon cut, there was so much that even went on behind the scenes that they talked about where like he just acted poorly towards the actors, like he was very disrespectful to the rest of the cast. I know that the whole situation happened with Zack Snyder and I believe it was his daughter that passed away.
Yeah, I think she suicide or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. I know when she passed away, like I completely understand that, but I think they should have looked at the movie as like, what they did was they pulled a let's play plan B and they settled for someone else, where with a movie like that, like I'm gonna be honest,
it's a universe building movie.
And I'm gonna be honest, Disney never would have done that.
Nope.
Disney never would have had somebody done and then been like, oh, they can't do it anymore, so let's just bring somebody else in. Like, no, Disney would have been like, you know what, let's set that aside. We have a lot of movies to pull up. Now, it could have been during that time they were struggling with like where they wanted to go, so they were like, let's do this, and then we can kind of like bounce off of this. But I think there was a movie that was talked about that could have worked before. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think here.
You want me to piggyback while you're thinking?
Yeah, go for it.
So, I completely agree that Disney wouldn't have done that. The whole thing too was Zack Snyder was in charge of making this universe as well. After the success of Man of Steel, Warner Bros. Was like, hey, since you did such an amazing job, you're in charge of building our entire universe, which that's a lot of pressure on a guy who just made one amazing film. Batman v Superman, with its flaws, it was an entertaining movie, and it was actually pretty good. I'm not a fan of the whole Superman dying so early and the fact that Batman and Superman came to conflict so early.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't like the cast of Lex Luthor. I didn't like Jesse Eisenberg playing him at all. I'm like, Kevin Spacey to me is Lex Luthor. Like he played the best Lex Luthor in my opinion. He has that role, like that villainous feel and vibe.
Yeah, he just can't because he touched some boys.
Accusations not proven. Just saying. But
I mean, he's gone. He ain't acting for a long time now.
Yeah, they took him out of House of Cards, and that was a shame. But anyways, getting out of the topic there. But I mean, they could have definitely chosen a better role there, to be honest.
Definitely.
I did like the script wise what they did with Lex Luthor in that, and a lot of the characters how they did it in Batman v Superman, which obviously would lead up to Justice League. Which that was fine. Overall, I mean, besides these minor things here and there, the way it led into Justice League was fine. If they took out the whole Superman dying thing, I think they probably should have did it like that New 52 version of Justice League where they all kind of meet for the first time in Justice League and it's like an accidental group up. Yeah, that would have been fine. And then have other solo films come out, kind of like how they were semi-doing it. Zack Snyder obviously losing his daughter that takes a huge toll on someone, so he having to step away. I agree. Warner Brothers should have been like, let's wait,
put a pin in it.
We'll put a pin in this, move it in the box over here in this corner, and then we're gonna move forward. Nope. They brought in someone who is known to have a completely different vision. He's a lot more Disney.
He was
for,
and you could definitely tell
movie. And Zack Snyder's vision, and not only that, his directing skills is literally darker.
It is dark.
Beautiful.
Just seeing
very much so.
the trailer.
Dude, everything was beautiful. And then Joss Whedon comes in and just takes a crap on it. Right on his chest. And it's terrible.
No, he put some pixie dust on it.
He digitized it on there.
Wait, are you talking about the trailer that just came out?
I mean, I've seen most of the trailers. I'm just talking about all the trailers. I mean, the one where they play. Oh, it's when they do Hallelujah. The Hallelujah trailer was literally like
that was a good one.
When that first came out, I was like, okay. I was like, Disney, you guys really got to move some pieces. I was like, you guys really do. I was like, this is
watch out.
like I don't know if it's just because like the bar was set so low for DC for a while that when I saw that, like I just got goosebumps because like it was the first time that I'd seen a superhero movie where I was like, this is possibly gonna wreck me. Like I was like, there is something in this that is gonna be like it's gonna shock me. Where like I've seen the Marvel movies and I'm like, ooh, cool, that person's in it now. I learned about it like last year.
Yeah, they don't even like save anything for leaks. They're like, hey, these are the castings for these things, and this is everything we're doing.
I know.
By the way, we're doing this for stuff that hasn't even been released for 2 years. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you telling me all this? I need excitement.
That's one thing that I do love about the DCEU and just the DC universe in general.
Worlds of DC.
The worlds of DC.
DCEU.
Whatever you want to call it.
I'm not doing that.
I love that about it because there is a genuine surprise factor to everything. Whereas Marvel, with especially Tom, you get a bunch of leaks.
I mean, unless it's the Russo brothers, then they know what they're doing. They keep things under wraps.
The only situation
that
on Marvel's side that they were able to hold under wraps was who would have died in the snap. That was kept under wraps for a long time.
How Endgame would have happened. Like everything about Endgame. That was under wraps.
I think Endgame though, I legit think they like put a contract or like a clause in that was like, if you leak this, we're removing your character. Like you will stay snapped. Like I do not think like
looking at Tom Holland,
they had never acted like that. Yeah, they had never acted like that before. And I mean, they had Tom doing all of like the interviews with Benedict, and Benedict is like, nope, we don't talk about that.
Nope.
We don't talk about it. Where like you've never dealt with that with any of the DC characters. Like, I mean, Ben Affleck kept his whole character under wraps for a while. You didn't know what was going on with Man of Steel. You didn't know what, like, dude, first off, Batfleck was a crazy version.
I love it.
Was such a crazy version of Batman that it was shocking. Like when you first off, when they introduce him and they like talk about it, like the fact that like he was branding criminals and when they would go to prison and then they would
yes.
die in prison, he knew they were gonna die. Like, and then the scene in Justice League where he like kills. He doesn't beat him up. He kills so many guys. So many of them.
Are you talking about? Wait. Are you talking about that scene in Batman v Superman where he's inside the abandoned house trying to save Martha?
Yeah,
That's Batman v Superman. But yes,
Not Justice League.
dude. Honestly, I don't know.
Justice League was
Sometimes with those
bright.
movies,
Remember,
they
it wasn't
like
dark.
That's true.
I do
Some
want to
of
go
those
into
movies,
that.
they just
Well,
meant to, like-
well, I mean, Justice League did kind of have a dark undertone in the very beginning.
It wasn't light. It had a weird color tone. That's what you're thinking. It didn't have the
Yeah.
right color tone.
Yeah, definitely.
Cinematically, garbage.
I
Yeah.
do want to say real quick. I know I'm sorry for interrupting you, Panda, but I need to say this before I forget. Batflick, and I know everyone's gonna hate me for saying this, is like my favorite Batman, portrayed Batman out there, live action. By far, only because one, he's like the Dark Knight Rises Batman. He's older, he's grittier, he doesn't give a crap whatsoever. Two, not only did they incorporate a lot of and I love this about how Zack Snyder did this. They incorporated so much of like older Batmans in there. Like his fight style was like Arkham Knight. His suit, Dark Knight Rises or Dark Knight Returns. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the way his Bruce Wayne was similar to how most Bruce Waynes are portrayed, but it was also kind of like a little nod. It may have been intentional or not. But the way Gotham's Bruce Wayne was really similar to how Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne was too, which was pretty cool.
Definitely.
And like the fight scenes were amazing. I'll agree. Like the fact that he's grabbing them through floors, that's what we all wanted to see.
Yeah.
The branding aspect was amazing. It was new. Like you never heard of that before. That was a new to touch.
But it was, I mean, it makes sense though, because it's just like
does.
Batman. Like he doesn't want to get his hands dirty for some of that, and so he's just gonna let everyone else do it.
And one thing too, the Robin that died, which everyone thought was Jason Todd, was actually Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Which was a little weird, but I like the whole there's already a Robin dead. He's like, how many heroes have been here? How many have stayed this way? Like he has seen his fair share of people come and go, you know?
Definitely.
And I love that about him. Like, and Ben Affleck played him so well, and it was a shame to see him leave, like not be Batman anymore, because he was probably my favorite by far.
So, real quick at that, I don't know how I forgot about this. I watched the Bat Dome or DC Fandom or whatever it was when it was during quarantine, which was that was weird.
It was really weird. Yeah.
Flashpoint Batfleck will be in Flashpoint, the movie that's coming out,
Wait. So Batfleck's going to be in Flashpoint,
as well as Michael Keaton playing
Michael
Batman.
Keaton was coming in.
Yeah, but Batfleck is going to be in it. I think it's going to be very similar to like the actual Flashpoint thing, where like the Batman from Flash's area is going to kind of like set himself aside and be like done, the same way that he did in Flashpoint, where like he has the heart-to-heart with the Thomas Wayne Batman, but it's going to be Michael Keaton. And I don't think that he's going to play the Thomas Wayne Batman. It would kind of be dumb.
They should
I
have
think he
brought
should just
Jeffrey
play
Dean Morgan to play the Thomas Wayne Batman anyways, because he
So
could be
yes. Yeah, but the only thing is Flashpoint has been done number one in the shows. We're not going to get into that, but it's been done in the shows. It's been done
animated.
3 times for animated. So it's just like
Has it been 3 times?
they did the Flashpoint Paradox, and they did the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, then they did the Flashpoint film, and it was just like all Flashpoint on its own. That one was where he hopped with a couple of things. Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
I've only
DC
seen Justice League
DC puts in some
Flashpoint.
work.
Yeah,
DC puts in some work when it comes to animated films.
Well,
but-
that's the best part.
But what I like is the fact that it's not going to be Thomas Wayne, and I like that they're doing callbacks to some of the originals. As long as they don't throw Clooney in there, we're fine. But
I
like,
don't want bat nipples. Do not need those.
but like Keaton was a very good Batman. He was
Hey,
the
everybody, how you
first
doing?
Batman to deal with it, other than hokey jokey. What's his name? Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Shark
I know what you. I
repellent.
know.
Shark repellent.
I know what
Shark
you're talking
repellent.
about.
I'm so lost. I was thinking too much about bat nipples. That I
Adam
lost.
West. There we go.
That one.
Yeah. Other than
There he
Adam
is.
West, who is the original Batman.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, and the Flash movie actually got me very excited, especially because like they could try to tie that in. Apparently, like there is the scene in the Flash show where he actually sees Ezra Miller's Flash.
Mm-hmm.
So people are saying Flashpoint is going to actually introduce that scene, and you're going to see it from the Flashpoint movie too. So it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. I definitely think it will be.
So we can go into the Flashpoint speculations a little
Mhm.
later, more in depth.
Yeah.
Just because that's going to be a good segment. But
Oh yeah.
back over to the Justice Weekend scenes.
Hmm.
Panda, how excited are you about the Zack Snyder miniseries?
I'm really excited for it. I just saw the couple versions of the trailer that were released, I believe like a week or a couple of days ago. And honestly, it looks like it's going to be really good. I'm really interested to see the original Justice League movie in the series that it's going to be. Much to Wage's point of the DCEU movies get you, this one is going to hit. And
Yeah.
Especially for if they portray one of the scenes in the trailer the way that I'm thinking that they will, it's going to be a very heartfelt, almost tear-jerking scene for most. I don't know if y'all have seen the trailer or not, if y'all want me to get into the scene that I'm talking about.
Honestly, I
can.
stopped watching the trailers because I'm like, I want to save
I
myself.
kind of do the same thing.
I'm trying to be a
I
virgin
watched the
forever.
Hallelujah trailer and I was like,
Yep.
the ones after this are going to start watering it down.
Yep.
I
did the
want as
same
little
thing.
context as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's like it happens way too often. Is like
Every
you
time.
can literally watch a movie by watching the trailer. That's how the
Yeah.
new trailers are, and I just don't like that. So
I
that's
hate
why I'm
that
like,
our trailers.
nah, stay away.
I do. That's the good thing about it, though. I only watch the trailers, and I don't look into any like reviews on trailers or anything like that. But and then because it leaves me to my own speculation.
Here's 65 Easter eggs you missed in the 2.5-minute trailer. It's like,
I know, and I'm like,
Right.
what?
excuse me?
But
In that
honestly,
30-second teaser trailer, there's 55 Easter eggs and one reference.
right? What?
You guys are
It's going to be
virgins.
really interesting though to see. Again, this is to me the original Justice League that
I
they're
agree.
coming out with in
I
2021.
agree.
It's not going to be the one that they released early. It's not going to. This is going to be the original cut, and I'm going to be very excited for it.
So when the first trailer did come out, I saw a snippet from TikTok that caught my eye, so I looked up the video.
Okay.
What it was is that this guy he did like I watched it was one of those I watched this in 0.25 speed and this is what I found. One of those type of videos. So
Mhm.
there's a spot where you see the nightmare realm and everything like that. And it looks very similar to the Hall of Justice, like the arch from the Hall of Justice, but
Yeah.
also for like a very split second, there's a card that comes into view.
the
And it's a
Joker card.
card.
Yes.
So like everyone was
Yes.
like, that's a little funky. And are we gonna get into speculation on how we think the movie's gonna go, or are we not
Yes,
gonna touch
we
on
will
that?
go into that.
Okay, then I'll
Okay.
just wait for my comments on
Okay.
that.
Okay. I'm excited for the series. To be honest, I'm
excited it's a series.
I am as well.
Mhm.
Like I get 8
because-
hours of this. Let's get it.
4
Right.
episodes. Like, dude, it's gonna be awesome. And he did originally want the Justice League movie to be like 2 to 3 parts, anyways.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
Batman was supposed to die in the second part, sacrificing himself. Yada yada yada.
There's so much to it.
There was so much.
Yeah,
and
there was
I'm not
really
a fan
a lot.
of that, to be honest. However, Batman has died like 3 times in the comics. But I kind of trust Zack Snyder's vision, even though I'm like really like head front on the comics in a sense. Like, this is how I want it to be. I also like his vision because it hasn't steered me wrong yet. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, he's had to clarify things like in Batman v Superman, where everyone's like, "You're Doomsday." They're like, "Oh yeah, watch Doomsday." I'm like, guys, that's not Doomsday. That's just a villain that's similar to Doomsday. And everyone's like, "It's Doomsday, it's Doomsday." Zack Snyder's like, "No, it's not." And then everyone shut up about it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Thank you. I've been
Thank
saying
you.
this for weeks."
Yeah.
Like, he knows what he's doing. He reads.
You need
the
to
source
outline your
material.
characters and stuff.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
I'm excited for this, and I'll start like a little bit of the speculation part of this segment.
Mhm.
I think the beginning part in a sense of what we witnessed from the original trailers for Justice League will be like the beginning episode or two, in the sense of, you know, Steppenwolf is coming down to get the mother box, Cyborg's involved, and I feel it's a whole Justice League New 52 version where they're going to be hunting Cyborg because he's technically a mother box now. I would hope they can incorporate that in a better way, because the way it happened, like, he's just kind of like fused with it, which that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be anyways. But then it's like the way it was done in the Joss Whedon League was like really bad.
Yeah.
And I hope that they can expound on it, because he really didn't have much of time to shine in that movie, to be honest. He was just there. Same thing with the Flash. It was really centralized with Batman and a little bit of Wonder Woman, and then Jim Gordon being there for like literally one scene was not needed whatsoever, unless you were going to keep.
I don't even remember that.
See,
I don't remember
they
that.
casted J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon. J.K. Simmons, in case people don't know, is the guy that played J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man.
Oh wait, yeah,
you know, in the Spider-Man movies. Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
He was Jim Gordon, and he's up top of a rooftop, lights the bat signal.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember that.
And
was it at the end? Was it towards the end?
It was.
No,
he
it
had
wasn't.
two
The very, very
scenes.
beginning.
Oh, he had two scenes.
He had two scenes. One where he's summoning Batman for the first time, and then the second one is at the end of the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought there was one.
I
at the
remember
end.
that perfectly because I was like, "Hey, look, it's J. Jonah Jameson," but instead it's
and-
Jim Jonah Jameson.
It's J.K. Jim Jonah Jameson. Anyways, like, there was a lot of unnecessary scenes in there, and I feel like Zack Snyder, with how his directing skills is and his vision, he's not going to have that unnecessary scenes. Like, he is huge on Easter eggs, like in Batman v Superman, where there's the whole Riddler symbol, for example, when he's in the abandoned building fighting Superman. That was great. The callbacks with not only the suits but the actual fight scene from the Dark Knight Returns Part 2, where he actually fights Superman, almost like it was really close to how it was actually done. Like, if Green Arrow was in there, that would be it. That would be the whole scene right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even when you're seeing like the Robin costume and everything like that, like the ha-ha-ha's all over it and stuff like that. Like, it was just so faint, and like most people already assumed it because there was the Red Hood whole thing where like Joker beat the crap out of Jason Todd with a crowbar. And it's like, then they were like, no, it's not Jason Todd. You were like, the Joker got another Batman? Like, it was like did Batman let this happen twice? Or like, but it was that kind of thing.
He's like, that's why I had a vasectomy. I'm tired of kids.
Yeah. But I have a different speculation on how it's going to begin.
All right, start.
So I think the first episode. So, and I want this. I think what they're going to see is. No, this is speculation.
Speculations.
So let it be. But if this is a spoiler, I apologize in advance.
Spoiler warning just in advance.
Possible spoiler warning. So imagine if starts off in the Nightmare universe. Nightmare universe isn't actually a dream sequence. This is a separate reality.
No, like the dark part.
Hang on. Hey.
Okay. I'm done.
So, this type of situation, what happens is same events from the Justice League occur. Superman rises, is bad, stays that way. When Lois comes on and cools him down, instead, he kills Lois.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Then sparks everything like this. So he decides, and I mean, either Steppenwolf or, well, actually not Steppenwolf. The bigger guy, the guy from Gods Among Us. Darkseid, yeah. Because Darkseid, they show, there's a scene from the Hallelujah trailer where people were like, that's Darkseid. That is Darkseid. People can say that it's not, but there's a scene where it's like, that's not Steppenwolf, that's Darkseid. So Darkseid were to combine with Superman, because Darkseid doesn't even have the ability to fully kill Superman to an extent. They like kind of had this like whole little thing. So he'd be able to like partner with that, and that's why you see like Superman evil against Batman. So as one of the last ditch efforts, when Batman does get captured, at some point during like his captor or anything like that, the Flash is able to get to him, not break him out, but he tells him, you need to go to this time and you need to tell them to like save Lois or something like that. That's then jumps and you see the situation where Bruce is sitting in a chair and he believes he wakes up. There's that Flash that's in front of him freaking out, and then he says Lois is the key. Lois is the key. And then it dissipates. That's then leading into the second part, which you see them trying to redo all of the effects of that. But yeah,
Dude,
that's what I would want perfectly fine for the first one.
That is beautiful, and that's so much like Injustice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I love the Injustice storyline, and people like write it off because it's a game. Nah, that is fantastic.
Comic parts go in depth.
I know,
and it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, honestly, if that was the intro, I'd flip my burger so
That's
well.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
He can't. Oh.
Especially because it'd be great to see 2 hours worth of something in that. Like you see how the characters are. Number one, that world looks pretty desolate. So what's Aquaman doing? Is there water, or is Aquaman dead? Like
I think they were trying to also get their water, if I'm not mistaken, is what they also.
Yeah. So it's just like maybe Aquaman's like chilling and like almost like in like rough condition. And has to have like a separate suit that can like regulate water like over a period of time. Maybe he's not at full strength.
And that could be
like what are the Amazons doing?
Suit.
Yeah, so there's so many different things. But I would love for them to start with the nightmare sequence, but making it be a world where Darkseid and Superman fell.
Dude, that would be dope.
That's what I want.
Oh my gosh, that was quite a.
Yeah.
Man, how do I Panda?
I'm still trying to process what Wade said to the extent of that. I mean, ideally, for me, it's all about putting justice to the Justice League movie, making it better. But it's all for also setting up for the next upcoming movies. You need to tell a story to go into your branch offs, essentially your Flash, your Cyborg, if there's going to be one, your Wonder Woman, whatever other movies are going to be coming up next. So what I would love to see is along the lines, kind of like what Wade said, have that whole dark side happen, have the Flash tell Bruce, hey, you need to go back to this time and you need to tell him XYZ. And then, get that whole final battle sequence going on where Batman sacrifices himself, kind of feel for the greater good, make everything light again. Okay, that doesn't sit right with the rest of the Justice League. They don't know what to do about it. They don't have a way to bring Batman back. And then Flash has that point where it's like, oh, I could just reverse time and have this prevented. And then boom, go into the Flashpoint movie from there. And how him going into the timeline and resetting it screws everything else up. And now you're telling his story again. What I also want to see them do is bring a backstory to the Flash and Cyborg. Because of the simple fact they were just thrown at us, and not a lot of people read the comics. They don't know that much about them. It would be interesting to delve into their backstories quite a little bit, not a lot, but just give the majority of the audience that doesn't really read the comics or doesn't know much about them a little bit more of a background on them, so they can be like, oh, okay, now I understand who they are.
Yeah.
So I can understand that for this latter part with the whole backstory situation. I can understand that perspective, especially for non-intense comic book fans like myself and Reggie over here. However, because this movie isn't necessarily about the individual, it's more about the group and the world-ending event that's happening. I don't think a backstory is necessarily needed for these characters. Yes, you want individual scenes with them to show some kind of connection, to like get you closer to the character. I mean, something more than what the Whedon League did. However, I don't think we need anything like, Iris coming in there or, Cyborg talking with his dad. We don't need any of that stuff. We do need more of like, maybe he's like at work and he has to go, like as in the beginning part, which leads into, he's like, hey, it shows that he was still, whatever his job position was. I can't remember it. Anyways, it shows that like what they previously did kind of flows in. Like Cyborg is watching some of his old game clips, you know, and that's like episode 1/2, however they want to do it.
Yeah,
and that leads
definitely.
into
Part one.
the actual movie, and then that could be expounded on after the events in their own individual movies.
Well, yeah, I
Cyborg
mean,
is even happening. No, I like.
yeah.
More of those.
That's essentially what I was
agree.
meaning. I just said
Okay.
it wrong.
So
No, it's cool.
So I would
Like-
actually, no, you go ahead, Panda.
No, that's just it. Just breaking all that down and whatnot. I would love to see it too, where the whole like timeline just gets corrupted by Flash, like because I mean he's notorious for that. Like,
Yeah.
so that's just me.
So one thing that I would like, so kind of to piggyback off of yours, how would you feel? So what if they were to take those characters? Like I completely agree with you. Like the Flash and Cyborg did not have a lot of context to the character. Like the whole idea with like Cyborg where he was like, I'm a monster, and like I could see it from the span of like, yeah, you look like a giant red walking like
You look like
robot.
a machine.
You
So
look
I
like
could
a
see it in that
robot.
sense, but there's so much that wasn't explained with him. Like very few people like knew that he was like a football player. Like you don't know a lot of stuff with that. They mentioned some things back and forth, but nothing too in depth. What would be interesting is number one, he has the mother box infused with him.
Yes.
So you have that. That's a very key portion to that movie.
Yes, it
So
is.
Yes.
trying to, like, for example, maybe it's the fact that they're trying to almost pull a take the stone out of Vision type of thing, where they're like, maybe to save like Cyborg, like so that they don't like find him, kill him, and take the mother box out of him or use him. Like, what if we found a way? So by doing that, then they start to learn a little bit more about him over time, and like you start to see a little bit more context behind it. Maybe even they do get in contact with his father, or in contact with a technician that worked with his father, or something along those lines. Maybe they fall upon the lab. They see the video that what's his name saw.
Batman.
Yeah, that Batman saw, like something along those lines. Because Batman saw that video, he understands the situation.
Perfect.
The others might not, and we might not remember it because I think it was like it was either the end or a post-credit scene.
It was like right before the big fight.
Okay, it was. I just didn't remember.
If
It
I'm
was a
not
small
mistaken.
snippet, so
Yeah,
So-
but
it was
then-
like she sent him the email, and he's like, okay, cool, let me go kick Superman's ass.
yeah. And so then another situation is like, okay, you take Flash. Flash obviously is able to do a lot of things, and I think getting to the Speed Force would be a fantastic way. Well, what if when he's trying to go back in time or something along those lines, or if he's trying to go to something else, he like falls back and you see like he stops in front of a house. Nobody knows what's going on. He like looks over, then you see a yellow blur go into the house and you hear screaming. And like then he gets emotional, and then like he's like, no, I have something to do. And so then he goes. So like they can
would be
slowly
nice.
implement stuff like
Yeah.
that to hint back, because with the Flash is a lot like Doctor Strange type of thing. You can show his timeline whenever you want to, because he can go whenever he wants to.
Exactly.
It's not, and he's not as game broken as like the whole idea of the stones, because he's able to go back and forth. And same thing with Superman. I don't think Superman's as fast. Superman's not as fast,
No,
but well,
No.
the Red Sun Superman is, but that's a different tangent.
that's a
That's a
different,
totally different one.
That's like a nuclear bomb. But
literally, Red Sun.
yeah, but take the characters, and instead of like, oh, let's explain everything behind them, it's like, no, let's show how they use their abilities to be part of this team, and in that show people where their heart comes from, where their origin is, where their lineage comes from, and instead of trying to do it on their own.
So to piggyback off of
a
that
good
real
point.
quick, lots of piggybacking here.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. Another perspective I would want to see is like a semi-rehash of the Justice League DCA movie, the DC animated, movie.
Okay,
they did
I was
to
like,
reboot there, where basically it started off with the individual characters doing their own thing. Flash at the time already has powers. Cyborg has his incident, and it's more of like the beginning part's more of Cyborg, where the incident happens and the explosion in the lab, and they fuse the mother box. That's the only thing that saved his life. And then the the Darkseid's demons. I can't remember what they were called. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
For some reason, I'm thinking Demigorgons. I'm like, that's way off. Not
That's
the
way
right
off.
season. Or series.
I think Wajay over there.
Parademons. There we go.
Parademons.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm just.
I couldn't remember it. It's okay. I couldn't remember it either.
Anyways, like the parademons were coming in to attack, yada yada yada. He comes in, badass, cool. And then, I mean, obviously there was like little tidbits of Shazam in there. Not much on Green Lantern, but there was the infamous interaction with Green Lantern and Batman, where they're in the sewers tracking down a parademon. Just so happens to be around the same area. And then they fight Superman, which wasn't like a full-on fight, but it was more of like they thought everyone was aliens, which Superman is an alien. Something like that, where they all accidentally meet because of this common enemy, and then this common enemy starts to bring them together to fight against it. Something like that, I would be cool with as well. Only because it doesn't have to go in depth with their backstories. I mean, yes, you have to learn how Cyborg's created, because this whole Justice League event with Darkseid is his origin in a sense.
Yeah, it really is.
Whereas everyone else, you don't need to know much. Like you said, the whole Flash deal where he's, going as through the Speed Force, even if it's not time travel, and he sees that, that's a good nod to do. If Green Lantern was in here, I know Martian Manhunter is supposed to be in here, so
he is teased, yes.
So whether that's like a full character or like a hint of like, hey, there's this guy over at such and such who doesn't like fire. So like they're talking about different people with metahuman abilities. Something like that would be cool to kind of like oh gosh.
No, okay, so one thing. In Smallville, the way that they hinted at Martian Manhunter and then brought him in was like Clark was going through and fighting this guy and then stepped on an Oreo cookie. Something like super small like that. Like the fact that Oreo cookies to Martians were like narcotics, like heavy narcotics to humans, which was crazy. And like he became addicted to Oreo cookies. Stupidest writing ever, but like funny as heck. Like literally one of my favorite things. The fact that Martian Manhunter was an addict and it was cookies instead of drugs. That's just great. But throwing something in like that'd be great. But another thing that I like thought of when you were talking about like what if he's in the Speed Force is like if he's in the Speed Force and he's just going and he's going, and then like from the right side you see like a yellow blur like come up just next to him, and then like him turn his head and the guy like winks at him and then just splits off. Something like that. Just like, because then you're like, that was the Reverse Flash. Like normal people would be like, what the heck was that? But like, everyone else would be like, that was Reverse Flash. That was the Reverse Flash. That was the one that killed his parents.
That would be cool if they brought in like the guy from the CW show to come in to play the Reverse Flash.
Anything like that.
Yes,
that would be cool. A little nod, be like, hey, multiple realities, still same bad guy.
Yeah,
but that would be awesome.
Yeah, another thing that was popping into my head was a lot of people were talking about if they were to bring in a Green Lantern, to bring in John Stewart, because a lot of people want like that kind of character, especially like the OG animated, like the ones where their shoulders were like this big and their body weight was like there. So those guys, that John Stewart was so cool. Like his voice was super
Justice
deep.
Justice League Unlimited, right?
Yes. And so all I kept thinking of with that is like would be like Idris Elba, a character like that. Someone like that to just implement, because number one, he could play off the character so well, and even seeing him in the poorly written Hobbs and Shaw movie. But in like that kind of persona, like where he's just like this big built brute that can just destroy anything.
Even if he keeps his accent, I'm so fine with him as John Stewart, because he has the look, the right acting for it, and he's honestly, I think, one of the better choices too as well.
Well, I know that there was this whole thing where a hashtag that was going on with the Snyder, like when Snyder had it, was the Unite the Seven, but everyone only saw 6 on the page, and then the Unite the Seven like disappeared when Whedon took it.
Yeah, that was like terrible.
So I'm like, it would be pretty sick. But the main thing is, if it boils down to it, I'll ask you guys a question. Who would you rather have? John Stewart Green Lantern, or would you rather have Martian Manhunter?
Oh, okay.
Green Lantern.
I'm gonna agree with him on that, just for the fair point that Martian Manhunter's OP as frick. Character interactions would be hilarious because it's an alien meeting humans and one other alien. But I think John Stewart would be a better segue because, one, they're trying to do the Green Lantern Corps show and movie, with John Stewart being in that movie, the show going over a bunch of the other lanterns as well. So I think that would be one better tease, better Easter egg. 2, a lot better interaction since he's probably already been monitoring the situation, and he's like, I just got back to the sector because of yada yada yada. You know what I mean? I'm Black Superman.
Oh no, I'm just imagining like a thing like Captain Marvel where she's like, this is happening everywhere, not just here. Like
he has the
I have to
haircut
protect
too.
the universe. You guys get this world. It's like, stop.
He's got the Captain Marvel haircut too. Like,
It's just shaved. It's just stuck right
Oh
up.
my god, dude.
Meanwhile, you hear Ryan Reynolds say like, "Don't make it animated."
No, literally, like Jon Stewart like turns and he's like, "What?" And then it's just like, "Don't make it animated."
Don't make it animated. And it's just like some dude just on the floor, just like with a Deadpool comic.
Yeah, and like I actually saw somebody that was talking about the idea of the Lantern Corps being modernized. So what is kind of cool with this is the modernized is like, instead of having like the black suits with the glowing green, it's almost like they have like the ring or they have the insignia somewhere else. Another one even talked about like it'd be cool if they had them as like tattoos. So like the tattoo would be somewhere. So it'd be sick. Like I'm literally just, this is so bad because if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be sad. But like I can just imagine like they actually see like this guy walking down the streets, Idris Elba or someone along those lines, and like an actual trench coat, looking like a normal human being, and then like him just like look up and like be like, "Do you need help?" And then like you see his eyes glow, and then like you see like either he has a tattoo on his shirt or something, and then the ring. Another thing like is I need the ring to be modernized because the like blocky green thing needs to be changed. It has to be like more modernized. And
yeah,
but
definitely
that would be a really cool implementation. And what I was gonna say was modifying my question a little bit. So would you rather have Green Lantern as like the end scene kind of cameo, or would you rather have Martian Manhunter as the end scene cameo?
So in
the same way,
is this the same question as who we would rather have in there, or is this just like separate question connected to that?
You get both of them.
Okay, cool.
You get both of them. But which one would you rather? Would you rather Martian Manhunter now be one of the mains, or would you rather still have Jon Stewart be the main and then have Martian Manhunter be at the end, or vice versa?
I would probably have Martian Manhunter at the end, not even as like him there, more of like his.
Well, I'm saying like post credit.
Yeah, but like his human. His human form, yes, Jean Jones with Oreos, just walking down the street, watching like Superman or like Batman talk,
bruh.
And then and then Superman looks at John Johns like, and then Batman's like, "What?" He's like, "Nothing," and just kind of like looks back. It's like that would be nice. That'd be a little something, something. Just because I think John would be more of like not necessarily end credit cameo. I think he's more of like an in the movie cameo.
Yeah, he's definitely more of an in movie guy.
Yeah. It would kind of be funny if like kind of how we were talking about the stupid cutscenes that would happen with the Spider-Verse type of movies. But like just imagine it like jumps to like you've seen this scene from like a major fight that goes on, and then it like starts backing up slowly, and it's like looking down like a long like road. There's like seriously just like a little metal chair and then a table, and there's just a dude sitting there, and like he's green, like literally you see the back of his head, it's green, nothing else, that's all you see, and then you just see him like reach in, grab an Oreo, and then just eat the Oreo. You don't even see the person, but like people are just like because like we said, Snyder likes EEs, so
lots.
See him doing like something like that, just as a hint to the people that pay attention, and then it's almost like how the publicity of like this is what this character was at the end of the movie. Like those are something that always happens. Like
because we do know what it looks like, or at least what it would have looked like.
Well, technically, in all the comics, Jean Jean's. You've never seen the actual form of the Martian Manhunter.
Okay, pause. I was talking about the Snyder version.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Let me rephrase this. Dude, that would be really nice. There's a lot of Easter eggs he could put in there. Even if it's even if there was an updated list that Batman got, and there was someone named John Johns on there, that would be fine. Like that would be better.
Yeah.
or if like John was there and he's mentioning, and I was like, yeah, he works with a couple of the people here and some people that aren't from this place. It doesn't say this world; he just says this place. They're like unique characters or something like that. You know, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It'd be great if they finally. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Never mind. It was going and then it just shut right off.
Right.
Train stopped short. I think the Snyder Cut's going to be freaking amazing. Everyone's been wanting
I
this.
do too.
One thing I did want to bring up that you brought up earlier is the whole Unite the Seven thing. Like, we saw the teasers for it like crazy when the movie was underneath Snyder's reign and it was originally going to be released. And then obviously when Whedon got the league, it was shut down ASAP. And I liked how, one thing I did like, I think it was with Whedon, I believe, is when he got it, one of the posters was like the JLA version of it, where it was very colored and it was like the dark background and whatnot. That was really nice, a little good throwback. I can't remember if it was Whedon or Snyder that did that, but the Unite the Seven, I would like to see more teases of that in the series. Something about like there's more of us, and then there's like we're missing someone, and it's like either Martian Manhunter or a Lantern or something, you know? Because you have let's see, Batman, you got Wonder Woman, you got Flash, you got Cyborg, and you have Superman.
Yeah.
Right? Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, Superman. Yeah. I mean, you could technically bring in Shazam, but I don't, because he's only doing minor reshoots. I don't think they're gonna bring in Shazam.
I think they would. The only thing that they would do, I think Shazam, they're gonna wait.
Man, I'm sorry.
I want them. I think they're gonna have the Black Adam movie come out and then interact with Shazam that way, and then put him into the Justice League. Like maybe even have some of the Justice League help him with Black Adam.
Kind of like how the Superman Shazam versus Black Adam thing, where it was
seriously, like, just like that.
Yeah. I mean, you were literally just missing one person, so you could have Shazam, one of the Lanterns, Martian Manhunter. I mean, it could be anyone, but I would want to see that theme come back because that was a very nice theme. I liked the tidbits.
Yeah. Are you talking about Shazam?
No. I'm sorry. With the Justice League Unite the Seven.
Okay. Yeah.
But as we are anticipating for the Snyder Cut, there is also the HBO series that they're trying to do as well. There is the Green Lantern Corps. There is the J.J. Abrams Justice League Dark, and a bunch of others that are being rumored and not confirmed yet. Which one we'll start off with first?
I think with the Green Lantern Corps, because that's the one I think that has the most confirmed stuff to it, at least. Okay. Mostly because, like, yes, they are doing it. Yes, these are the characters. They haven't been casted yet, but these are definitely the characters. Honestly, I think it would kind of be funny if the Green Lantern Corps did like a tiny little hint to the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, only in the sense of like, but only in the sense of separate universe type of thing. Like even seeing like how like some like, I mean, obviously the shows, there's so much to unpack with the shows, the CW shows. But like just that whole idea of those universes where there's tons and tons of different Earths that are all connected. Like, I'm gonna be honest, Ryan Reynolds, they could just never even say that he was non-canon and just say like he's one of the universes. That's it.
They could.
And, like that universe sucks, and that Green Lantern's garbage. But
you know what they say?
Still there.
They're part of the Arrowverse.
Yeah,
he's part of the Arrowverse.
But like the same thing goes. All of the other Batmans, those can all be part of different universes, unfortunately. But like, I mean, Christian Bale's Batman is honestly one of the cool, like a really cool universe type because it's a non-super hero.
It's very
universe.
Realistic.
It's just a hero universe. You see just heroes. They're not superheroes. They're heroes. That's why I'm so glad they never put Superman into it. So glad.
Yeah, that would have probably ruined the whole vibe.
That would have.
Nolan knows what he's doing.
He knew what he was doing, and he stayed with it. And so just certain things like that. And I mean, there's so many different ways that they can bring it. Even with the Dark Justice League, something that never even gets talked about is Lucifer is actually part of the DCEU. And
what?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you didn't know that
show Lucifer? Yeah,
I never watched it. It was not interesting to me.
He was brought in on Crisis on Infinite Earth. He's part of.
That doesn't
he's
mean
from Earth 666. And no, he is actually like he's DCEU. He's part of
DCEU. That's just Arrowverse.
No, he's part of the extended universe. See, here's the thing. By them putting Ezra Miller in, that made it canon. You might not like that, but it did make it canon. I know you
Yep.
think that it doesn't, but it does make it canon,
But
buddy.
the thing
really
is,
does.
it's
I
not
know
part of
you
that
really-
same timeline.
I know
They're
you
all-
It
they're all
don't
still
like it.
doesn't matter though. It's still canon.
Timelines don't care. Do we want to bring up Endgame right now? I'll bring up some Endgame and slap you with some timeline knowledge.
Because of the simple fact.
They don't
to
care about
Wage's
timelines.
point-
Timelines
God.
sapping it whenever they want. Time is irrelevant with
I
these.
hate how they
Exactly.
did
To Wage's
Crisis.
point, with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's where we saw
Goes wherever
Lucifer
they
come
want.
in and part of the DCEU.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's Arrowverse or the actual Justice League movie or anything like that. He's still a part of DC at that point now.
If they wanted to make it different, they shouldn't have put Ezra, but they put Ezra in it, so it's DCU and it's
Exactly.
canon.
Okay, so we're gonna go into that Crisis and Flashpoint later. We're gonna get back to Green Lantern. Real quick though, characters confirmed for this series: Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Simon Baz, and Jessica Cruz, as well as Sinestro and Kilowog. For people that don't know who Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz are, they are two of the newest Lanterns ever since Rebirth. Simon Baz is probably one of my
Okay.
favorites, not only the way he looks, but kind of like the character development they have with him. Simon Baz looks dope. Like, he's like, him and Kyle Rayner have two of the dopest Lantern uniforms like ever. Kyle Rayner's has like white on there, which is amazing. Simon Baz looks like a freaking boxer in a sense. It's freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Cruz, her character has been around for a long time. She was previously part of the Crime Syndicate, which is like an evil version of the Justice League. And if I'm not mistaken, she was possessed by an evil ring. She eventually gets off of that, but then joins the actual like Justice League with, you know, the newer ring. Goes into a whole bunch. But it's weird that Alan Scott is in this as well as the others, because Alan Scott's like the 80s. Like, unless they're doing like a super old version of it, where you see like with Alan, Guy, Simon, like their costumes, which goes into your modernization of their uniforms. Like, the uniforms keep changing because of the times. That would be cool.
Yeah. So they have confirmed that the Justice League show will be in different decades, and it will span different decades.
Whoa. Green Lantern.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so they've said that the Green Lantern Corps will like span the different decades. It's hard for me to hear because these are noise canceling ones. So like I can't hear myself sometimes when I say the specific words.
That's fine.
But yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna
that
be
makes
honest.
sense.
I am very hyped for Guy Gardner.
I want to know who they cast.
That's mostly why. And another reason why is because Guy Gardner is a bit of a dickhead. He's hilarious. And I think that's like that's the really cool part about it. But if they do Guy Gardner, they have to do something with Hal Jordan, because like they kind of go hand in hand for a lot of it,
Well, they're
especially with like getting the ring.
Well, yes, but Hal and John, at least confirmed, and possibly Kyle, are going to be in the Green Lantern Corps movie.
Yeah,
So
I know.
that comes into the fact of, is this DCEU canon or DCEU same timeline universe? So you want to get specific, or is this its own separate thing that they typically do with like the Arrowverse and like all the other like DC animated stuff? Yeah.
So-
we gotta-
With this, what I think that this is going to start long ago. Like, I mean, they're putting Alan Scott in, so obviously it has
in
to
a
start
galaxy
longer.
far, far away.
And so I think they're going to do that and then pull it through and then connect it in. Because you financially and from a company perspective, it would be really stupid to make a show about all the Green Lanterns and then be like, let's not put them with the movies. It's like, I'm sorry, but cash cow. Like, we know what you guys
Hey,
are going for.
We know what DC's all about with their money. They got Joss Whedon in there.
And
And, you know, Birds of Prey. And, God,
We're not
so
going to
many
address
others.
that. We're not going to address that.
And aren't they
As
the ones in charge
long-
of Fast and Furious?
What?
What?
Wait, what did you say?
Aren't they the ones in charge of, like, Fast and Furious? Isn't that under there?
Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
I think that's 20th Century.
Let me look this
I
up.
think so. Yeah.
Because if
I
not-
feel like I
if it
remember
is-
the da-da-da.
Because if it is, then I have a lot of
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
comments to say that.
Literally, like, I'm gonna miss seeing
Universal.
those before Deadpool. It is Universal. Okay,
Universal.
so that's Disney. Wait, so that'd be Disney.
Yeah, that is
Do
Disney.
they own Universal?
Universal
Question mark on that one.
Universal Studios has the Marvel people, so yes.
Well, but it's Universal Pictures.
But
Well,
Universal
Universal
Pictures
is-
isn't a branch off of Universal
Okay,
Studios.
look,
Yeah, that's like being
Universal's
like,
owned
oh
by
well, it's
NBC,
Pixar.
and their subsidiaries are Illumination and DreamWorks. So no, it's not owned.
Okay, so they're
wait,
literally by
repeat that?
themselves.
Yeah, they're by themselves. Oh,
Okay.
Universal's is owned by Comcast/NBC. Their subsidiaries are Illumination and DreamWorks and a bunch of others.
Okay.
So they're literally on their own. So we're way off.
They're on. Okay.
Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
back to Green Lanterns. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent there for no reason.
Yep. I'm fine with that though. I'm fine with the tangent.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping. I mean, it is going to be on HBO Max, and HBO is going to do it. So budget's not going to be the issue necessarily.
No, they don't care about budget. Which is
I'm
so
just
nice.
a little concerned on the story and the casting, and I just don't want them to warp the characters, because we have never seen any of these characters live action like this, especially on this big of a scale before. So all they need to do is get the source material, tweak it a little bit, and it's fine. And I don't mean tweak this in a political standpoint. I just mean tweak it in an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah.
Because they do have a habit of doing that, and it really bums me out.
DC not so much when it comes to their big flagships. I mean, Birds of Prey was obviously there to heed politics to it.
Yeah.
But like for most of the part, their
Well, I
movies don't
didn't
touch
know.
it because their movies are so desensitized from the world, and it's such a
Just a
different
little
world.
bit.
Marvel tries to implement. I mean, for example, like you have Gotham City, you have Smallville, you have Star City, Sterling City. So it's like they already separate themselves from the Earth, technically, because it's not like our cities. Where Marvel, they're more our cities, so they can do whatever they want. And they can make it however politically they want. But
Yeah.
I mean, there was barely any politics that have been in any of those movies. I think the only one that ever had any politics to it was Joker, and it was mostly because it was just playing on the whole like rich versus the poor, poor versus the rich. That's it.
Yeah.
And that was
Right,
about
and-
the only thing. Yeah,
And
but
that's not
class.
what I'm really worried about. It's because it's a series that they could do that with, and I've seen it with with Marvel, how they do that kind of stuff, and it really like kind of ruins the show a bit. Or the
I agree. It can. Well, I think it can take away from what they're trying to get at. I feel like sometimes it doesn't ruin them. I feel like it'll take away from the awe factor of it. I mean, no matter what, the Green Lantern Corps TV show is going to be cool. I mean, the CGI and special effects are definitely going to be like probably the number one priority, and then plots right
Has
underneath
to.
that, because you're dealing with literally an entire different world, like
Outer
a
space.
galaxy. Like you're dealing with cosmic entities. It'll be more similar to the Doctor Strange feel than like any of the other type of MCU, because it's that whole like cosmic entities, like cosmic forces fighting against each other.
And
So, yeah.
I mean, and this just reminded me because of the whole Hal Jordan nod Hal Jordan nod that you were mentioning. Sinestro and Kilowog is going to be in it, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that there's probably going to be a cameo for it.
Yeah.
I would like to see maybe some Red Lanterns explore the other lanterns, especially because Guy was one of the most vicious Red Lanterns when he went undercover there. I don't think any of the other ones really were uniquely known for having another ring besides Kyle and maybe John and Hal, of course. But those three aren't even in this series. So maybe having, that situation would be pretty cool in there too. I mean, there's so much they could do with it because there is the entire universe and different sectors in it that they all have to go into. And there's different time stamps, different decades, as you mentioned, that these characters are going to be in. So it's so interesting to see how. Now, the Alan Scott, I don't know if they're going to go with a gay version or not, because the original one was not gay, but they made him gay in Earth 2. And I don't know if they're going to go with that route. And if they do, that's probably going to affect casting in a sense. Because
I don't know.
There were those two types of Alan Scotts were two different characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, we'll have to see on that.
Yeah, that's like getting really down to the wire when it comes to like the speculation types and stuff, because it's like
There's so much. we
They
shall
can do whatever they want.
continue with the Justice League Dark. That one, I'm actually excited for because it's by J.J. Abrams is going to make it. Kathleen Kennedy's not involved. I'm excited for that. J.J. Abrams is a really good director. His visuals are always pretty dang spice, especially like with the Star Trek reboot series he did. I never was a fan of Star Trek until I watched those 3 movies. I still haven't fully seen Beyond. I've seen bits and pieces. But
You're
the
gonna
first
piss
two,
so many people off from that.
Oh, I know I will. I know
People hated those movies.
I know they do, but it's also
I'm
a
gonna be
different timeline.
honest. Yeah, but they hated it.
They could hate everything else, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. As a non-Star Trek fan, that was actually very interesting, and it got me into it, and I dig it. And ever since then, I mean, he does a lot of other ones, like there's Cloverfield. There we go. He's done Cloverfield, and a bunch
Which
of
is
other
fantastic.
ones. Amazing. And then Cloverfield Lane, and then there's the Cloverfield Paradox, which all of those amazing. That's his company producing it. So he's not one to shy from like going from one end of the spectrum to the other. He knows what he's doing.
Ooh, and it's under Bad Robot.
I just mentioned that. That's his
Oh,
company.
okay.
Yeah, he just mentioned it.
Okay. That's his company.
I was looking.
Yes, they're gonna
I was
do it.
looking up some of this stuff, so I was like kind of in and out when it came to that stuff because I was looking up some more information for it.
Yeah, no.
Because they did say, yeah, they did say that it was going to be a series. So
yes. So this is going to be a series. I want the guy that plays Constantine to come back and play Constantine in the Arrowverse, just because he plays such a good Constantine. Now, little subtract here. Keanu Reeves is coming back for Constantine 2, the movie, which is amazeballs. I don't think they're going to bring him into the series, which that's fine. You don't need that high profile of an actor in there. But besides those 2 actors, is there anyone else you would want to see as the lead Constantine?
trying to think here.
They got to be blonde, or at least can, rock the blonde dye.
Well, yeah, I was about to say because the guy from the Arrowverse isn't blonde. You can see his roots.
Oh yeah, that's true. But
He's hilarious. Yeah,
he's got to be British.
He's got cool guy tips.
Tips or tits? Because that's 2 different
Tips.
things. Okay,
That's 2 very different.
2 very different
Tips.
things.
Cool
there.
guy tips.
You know who I'm thinking?
I have nothing to input right now, so that's why I'm staying quiet.
Oh gosh.
I do not want to seem illiterate.
Have you guys seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
No.
God bless it.
Oh,
Armie
I know what
Hammer.
you're talking about.
Armie
Yeah.
Hammer could possibly play a good John Constantine.
I can probably see that. Like I said, I don't really know. I don't have that much of an input on this one, so.
Because John Constantine, he's
Holy crap! Except Armie Hammer's 6'5".
So what?
So they've got to mess around with some of that because there's no way they're getting a bunch of actors to play that.
That man is huge.
Jeez, did not know he was that big.
Yeah, he's I didn't realize that until you mentioned it. Yeah, he's huge.
He's a tall one.
He's a tall one.
I think here.
Because it's really tough to see what actors would play him very well, or play him at all.
I'm just looking up. I'm gonna see if there's any castings that anybody thinks of. 15 actors who could play. Oh, there we go. Love this. Ooh.
I wouldn't trust those lists, honestly.
Well, I'm gonna
what
look.
they did
I'm gonna
for
look
the,
through some of them. Yeah, Matt Ryan is the guy who played the one that was in the show, which
Yep.
he did really good. Oh, I like this one, but Carl Urban. Carl Urban could. I could see it. I
You
could
know
see
what?
it. I could
Because
see
of
it.
The Boys,
Be
I could
interesting.
see it.
I know. I could see
I could
it.
see him playing it.
I've never seen it.
Dude, you need to watch it by the time we do the Boys podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, I think are you on
I
the?
could.
I see the one. I see the website you're on right now.
Screen Rant. That's just always there. The guy from Dracula Untold, Luke Evans.
Dude, he's a great actor. I love that guy. I could see him play it. I could. See
I could
him
do.
play it.
That's kind of why I was like, okay, pass.
I think I know which one you're laughing at.
No, I just thought of Jason Statham. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, out of my head, I was like, oh, Jason
It's a
Statham. Like,
bold Constantine.
What?
the devil don't know what he's talking about. Like,
So there is Dan Stevens. He's the guy that played Legion in the Legion series.
Ewan McGregor.
No.
Really? You don't
Ewan
think so?
McGregor- To me, he's Kenobi.
You don't think Obi?
No, he's
Oh my gosh.
Kenobi and
Don't
Constantine. are two
typecast that
different-
man. He is so good.
He is
How
a great
dare you.
actor as Kenobi.
It's just from personal experience seeing him as.
Are you gonna say Guy Pearce?
No. Okay. The guy. He's okay. I talked about this with somebody for. Oh, we talked about it for Superman, possibly.
Okay.
But you could make him blonde. The guy who plays in the Hunger Games, and like he had the weird facial hair, and then
yeah,
but like shave the beard and then
Oh.
have him
the
do
guy that
like
has
the.
beard. Okay.
I could see him. I could see him
I
because
see
like
what
he
you're
has
talking
that. Yeah, I don't
Let
know
me
what
look it
his
up.
name is.
Let me look it up.
Yeah. No, Guy Pearce. No, never in a million years.
yeah,
Never. I don't want anything to do with him anymore. Daniel Craig. No. No.
Wes Bentley. There we go.
Wes Bentley. Yeah,
Wes
him.
Bentley.
He could do one. He could do one. He could do like the more. He could do a happy medium between Keanu's Constantine and
Matt
the
Ryan.
show Constantine.
Yeah. They have
That's
Colin
what he could
Farrell on that list too, which I was like, I don't think so, only because
He's number one. Well, he's
Yeah.
Penguin.
yeah, there's that.
The only thing is, Penguin. Okay, the only thing is, Robert Pattinson agreed that he wanted to play Batman, but he didn't want it to be part of the DCEU. And I don't think they ever should touch the DCEU with that Batman, because that Batman would be fine by its own. And
Well,
like,
Yes and no. I feel like what they could do, and this is gonna just kind of diverge off. What they could do is have it take place after Flashpoint. Like it's not part of the DCEU yet, but because of the events of Flashpoint, it will. It could, and this is a possibility. That one and the Joker, for example, could be part of the current DCEU. And what they could do with that Joker is, you know how in the current comics there's the War of Three Jokers. There could be 3 Jokers in this one too. I know it's a little bit out there, but you could have, you know, the Joaquin Phoenix one, whatever one they want to have for the Robert Patterson specific one, and then like, I don't know, Jared Leto. Just to put it
Please,
out there.
God,
Listen,
no.
just hear me out. I mean,
Jared Leto will die.
would you like
God,
me to,
no,
would you guys like me to
dude.
spoil kind of what happens though?
Well,
You
another
lost me
reason.
there, bro.
Here's another reason why
Oh,
if they
come
did
on.
the Nightmare universe would be great is because they could kill Jared Leto in
Dude.
that universe and be done with it.
Okay,
Please,
hear me-
honestly,
just hear me out. on this.
honestly,
out.
Hear me
please,
out. Hear
dude.
me out. Listen, okay?
You said Jared Leto as Joker,
Listen,
and I'm
okay,
tuning you out
I'm
right
going
now.
to spoil the War of Three Jokers. Are you guys cool?
Oh,
That's fine.
Okay.
whatever. Go for
One
it.
of the Jokers basically kills all of the other Jokers.
Please
And-
make that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
And what could happen is the Robert Patterson Joker kills the other ones. The Joaquin Phoenix one, because he's really not much of a specific Joker. He's more of like the depiction of our other self. They kill the Jared Leto one for fan service. And then like they do the whole where they're trying to make another Joker deal. And it's obviously something later on down the line that they can do. Like that's not an eventual thing. But I feel like that could be something cool to see as well.
It would be something cool to see, but I don't think it'll ever happen. The only reason why is because I don't think it would respond well, since most people still would think, me personally, like I do, that Heath Ledger was the best Joker.
Oh yeah.
So doing a
100%.
movie
Oh,
about the
no
3
doubt.
Jokers, and them, instead of being able to even put Heath Ledger's Joker in it, they pick Joaquin, which is great, and then they pick some other Joker that they just come up with, and then they would pick Jared Leto's, which is bleh. If they did those 3, then it's like nah. That just, I don't think it would attract the fan base that it would, because
I think
Joker was great because it was by itself. It had little connection to Bruce Wayne, especially at the end, which was fantastic, and like
Yes.
his big joke. I loved that. But something to piggyback what you were saying, the Joker from Joker is not people are gonna get mad at me this, is not a good Joker. Here's why.
You mean in the sense of like a Batman villain?
Yes.
Okay,
He
yeah.
would never
Okay.
portray a proper villain. The only way they could is if they made the only way they could is, number one, tone has to match. Tone would have matched and would match with the Batman. So if they brought Joaquin Phoenix in with the Batman, number one, there's an age gap, gigantic age gap,
Just a little bit.
because like I think Pattinson's supposed to be like in his mid to late 20s technically in
early
this.
to mid because it's
Early
year
to mid?
zero.
And then you're dealing with Joaquin, who's like, I mean, he's playing like almost like a 60-year-old Joker. So
He's like 40.
I know, but what I'm saying is in this movie, he would be a 60-year-old Joker.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh,
Because you're skipping ahead. Bruce was like, what, 8 maybe?
Yeah.
So you tack on 15 years, you're going to get an old, very messed up mentally Joker. So the only way that it could play is if, like I talked about, the antithesis between Joker and Batman. They're the exact opposite. If they were the exact opposite in Bruce Wayne / Robert Pattinson's portrayal is like super brilliant, genius, and plays everything cold and calculated,
Right.
and goes through every outcome before he goes into a battle. Kind of like how there was a Batman comic strand where he had a computer that was called like the simulation or something along those lines that was able to run through different outcomes to battles. I can't remember what it was called.
I think that was Brother Eye.
Yeah. And so that type of situation. Because then you would be dealing with someone who is mentally deranged, not making any sense on a human basis. That's how they could only interact. But him playing with like Batfleck's Batman, there's no, like Joaquin Phoenix wouldn't even be a good villain.
No, he would
like Joaquin Phoenix would like throw something and then Batfleck would just punch his face in, like literally deplete it into his face,
drag him through the floorboards and everything.
And so that's why like Joker is a fantastic movie on its own because it's a depiction of a guy that falls into madness. It's not a depiction of Joker. Also, okay, we'll get to something at the end. Just remind me.
I was just mentioning Joker.
Just say Heath Ledger's origin.
Okay.
That's all you gotta do.
Anyways, I know it's a little bit of a tangent, but that is something they could do with the Flashpoint thing, yada, yada, yada. I know Justice League Dark, and we're going way back over to this real quick. There's not much they could really... There's so much they can do, but there's also, casting-wise, little limitations just because of the roles they're trying to do, because there's both Zatanna and John Constantine in there.
Yeah.
I would be cool to see Batman come in there for a little bit if they did like the animated version, like where he comes in, he's like, "Hey, I'm setting you guys up together. Good luck," and then it's all about them. You know, like he's only there for the beginning.
Zatanna, I would be very excited to see Zatanna.
Not because of the tights or anything.
No, not at all. Not
at all. I'm excited for J.J. Abrams to come back, or not come back, but come and do this series. Because I know he's going to do a pretty dang good job of it.
Dude, I'm hyped for Gunn and how much he's doing.
Yes, that's going to be great for the Suicide Squad movie. That trailer looks dope, or character trailer, I guess.
Dude, that
dope.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that they already have a Peacemaker series / movie, unknown yet, like already in development without the movie even out in the public is ridiculous.
Yeah. Because of the response it got a great response. It looks fantastic.
The whole thing, yeah. And they have a lot of like older OG characters in there. There's not a bunch of modern ones.
Polka Dot Man.
Yes. And they have some pretty good actors playing these guys. So
they do. They got Idris Elba in there too.
I know. We just bursted our Green Lantern bubble.
Well, maybe it's not canon.
Oh, now it's not canon, but it's in the same universe. You know, Ezra Miller.
I'm saying maybe it's not. Ezra Miller is confirmed. Okay, you're talking about non-confirmed to confirmed.
Listen, this one is canon because it's a direct sequel because Harley Quinn's back, and so is Boomerang.
But it's supposed to be late. It's supposed to be earlier on in the years. It's supposed to be set in a different time, almost kind of.
See, Zeus, I think where you're getting confused. Where you're getting confused from is because of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, that Barry Allen goes through the Speed Force into a different timeline and is literally face to face with.
No, I know what happened. I'm gonna get into that later. I'm just not trying to touch it. Yeah. I mean, I'm making jokes about it, but I'm gonna touch it in a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll bless it a little bit. Anyways, but yeah, the Suicide Squad sequel, The Suicide Squad, is definitely part of the DC EU / Worlds of DC.
Mm-hmm. I just don't. Do they call it a sequel though?
I believe they do.
I would assume so.
Here's the only reason why is because Deadshot's not in it. Will Smith isn't.
It is intended to be a soft reboot. I know what you mean. It's
soft reboot.
And a standalone sequel.
Standalone sequel to what though?
To Suicide Squad. And it says it's the 10th film and the DCEU. So the reason why it says soft reboot is probably because it's a new cast.
Because the first one was garbage.
It's more of them trying to rebrand it, but it is a sequel. Yes.
So weird. You guys, they got to be consistent.
That's one thing that DCEU needs to fix is being consistent.
Well,
Because
they need to get the same thing on board with like what they have with Feige. Like they have to have somebody that's able to write and figure everything out on his own.
He runs everything. He runs the actual comics now, and he's running the movies and the series. It's ridiculous.
That's what they need to do.
Like, golly, Disney's like monopolized the frick out of that. And now we can go into Flashpoint.
How is it? Okay, here's the thing. How is it a sequel if Boomerang's back?
Boomerang didn't die.
Wasn't Boomerang the one that got his head blown off in the first one?
No, that was a different character.
You're thinking of that was just some
I can't remember the dude's name, but yeah, it was a
he was a glorified extra essentially.
Basically, he was a glorified extra. He was in the trailers all the time, but he died in like the beginning with his head being blown.
Yeah, because he wanted to veer off of the actual mission, and
I know.
he was the one that was the example for everybody.
Bro,
like, you're either gonna listen to me or this is gonna happen to you.
I would be pissed if Boomerang died. He was like one of the funniest freaking
Same
characters in there.
Honestly, though, while y'all are looking that up, I don't know how I feel about Robert Pattinson. I'm gonna be honest.
What?
He's gonna be fantastic.
He's gonna be absolutely delicious in a non-homosexual way.
I swear, if
I don't know how I feel about
if
it.
you bring up Twilight, I'm gonna hang up
Don't you
because
dare.
that man has done. That guy.
I don't know.
Here's the thing.
The
Okay,
only
you can
reason-
say what you
the
want,
only-
and if you say the Twilight thing, I'm gonna just break you apart. Like, like cinematically
is,
and from a
I
Hollywood
don't-
actor's standpoint, I'm gonna break you apart.
Go break you
I
apart.
don't see him as a good fit, and that's just my personal opinion.
Why not? Because
I mean-
he played friggin' Edward in Twilight.
It's even beyond the Twilight stuff. I mean, I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of Twilight. That's just
Did you see Lighthouse?
I need to see that.
Bits
I heard
and
it was
pieces.
Very good.
No, you need to see the whole movie. Watch Lighthouse.
I saw bits and pieces of it, and that's probably why that I don't feel Robert Pattinson is a good fit. You know what I mean? Because I haven't actually had the opportunity to see him in much, and the parts that I have seen him in have been very little and haven't shown me anything from an actor standpoint. And that's just how I sit with that. I mean, if I can sit down and actually watch, Lighthouse in
is
this
on
example.
Amazon Prime if you have it.
I don't have it. I'm broke.
Son of a blim blams.
That should change hopefully soon. But anyway,
With the success
if I
of these
can,
podcasts.
right. But yeah, if I can actually watch him in something else, I will open my judgment. You know what I mean? It's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna watch the new Batman because he's the cast for it. I'm all for watching it and having my opinion changed. You know what I mean?
Honestly, Robert Patterson is a good actor. I have only seen him in a handful of roles. I need to go watch Tenet. I've been trying to watch that for like ever. I need to go watch it. But I heard he was good in that, and I heard he was great in The Lighthouse, which that movie looked absolutely amazing. And
it doesn't also help that the only other thing that I've seen him in was Cedric and in Harry Potter.
I was like, yeah, but he was still fine in that one. Like he didn't have to do anything.
But see, even at that though, I didn't get to see as much of him.
So
because literally you bring him in and then you kill him off same movie.
I killed him off in the end. Not that important.
something that I actually really wanted. So I watched Lighthouse, and I watched Lighthouse when it had already been confirmed that Batfleck. I mean, not well, that Batfleck had been replaced.
You mean Pat Fleck.
By Robert Pattinson. By Pat Battinson. Yeah, by Battinson. And so, but here's what's cool.
Patterson.
It would have been fantastic to see Pattinson set with an older Joker, and the Joker be Willem Dafoe, because the chemistry from Lighthouse, if you watch the whole movie and you watch their chemistry, it is such a great chemistry from the acting standpoint that it's like there's not even a shadow of a doubt. Now, the Batman that we're gonna get with Pattinson is gonna be a different tone than Christian Bale. They've already said like his Bruce Wayne is kind of gonna be a more of like a hurt human. Like he's a broken human that's kind of still trying to like mend himself back up. I mean, he's young. The main problem is our vision of Bruce Wayne, even from stemming from Michael Keaton, is a guy who's an adult who has his life going on and is fine. what we're gonna see for the first time is a young Bruce Wayne, other than in Gotham, but we're not gonna.
Let's not do that.
We're not gonna talk about that.
But like, you're gonna see a young Bruce Wayne that's dealing with the fact that he's probably a couple of years into running the entire Wayne Enterprises, which is a struggle because of how much crazy stuff that Thomas was into.
They are in this company.
If they're really they have the whole like House of Owls is like the big rumor for it, so that's a big thing that's coming. And then there's also the big thing with that Gotham PD, which would be showing the corruption. Hang on, but it would be showing the corruption of the city. They're hinging on like this being a very corrupt, broken Gotham. So you're gonna have a very broken Batman to deal with it, and he's gonna take out that anger that he has towards the city on the city. So you have to look at it as like, that's why you have to see more of Pattinson, because I am a film snob with a lot of these guys. Like, I mean, when I heard that Pattinson was in it, I watched Lighthouse, but I've also watched a lot of his films. Since he did Twilight, he pulled what a lot of people call the who's the guy who played Luke Skywalker? Wow, am I dumb?
Mark Hamill?
Yeah, he played a Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
So a Hamill is pretty much, you make a crap ton of money from 3 or 4 or 5 movies, and you live off that and do whatever you want. Robert Pattinson has been in like 15 films since Twilight. All of them are like very small indie films, but if you watch those, you're like, holy crap, Twilight has terrible writers. Because he is actually a very fantastic actor, because he can play so many different characters. That's why, like, when I heard that he got casted, I was happy. Number one, I like the feel of a more London-esque Batman. No, it's obviously not going to be speaking in a British accent, but the more London-esque, like London feel like of Christian a Batman, Bale kind of deal. I like. Christian Bale was an Americanized Batman. I will say that. Like, I really liked Christian Bale's ideal behind Batman. And like Batfleck was fantastic because it was like, I don't trust anybody. He had probably watched possibly 2 Robins die by this time.
And he was divorced also. He was divorced.
So it's just like, you're seeing that's a broken Batman, but that's like like you said, The Dark Knight Returns, where he is just, he hates people. He doesn't like opening up. It's almost like The Dark Knight Rises Batman at the very beginning, when he was like off on the left wing and didn't talk to anyone and kept himself away. So this Pattinson is going to be a completely different Bruce Wayne than we've ever seen. I'm excited for it because this Bruce Wayne hints to a more detective-esque, New Nightmare, New 52 type of not New 52, but like year 1, year 2 Batman.
Oh, year 0.
That's why, that's why I'm excited for it. And I've watched his acting chops. He has the chops to fully play it, and I have confidence fully. It's just, you gotta watch some more stuff. That's it. You gotta watch some more stuff with him, because I guarantee you'd like him.
So I'll be honest, I didn't have a high regard for Patterson. Not necessarily because of Twilight, but because, one, I didn't see him in a lot of things, and the things I did see him in, they were minor roles. And I didn't say that he necessarily played them bad or well. They were just minor.
They were just very minor.
It just didn't stand out to me. But when I saw that trailer, oh my gosh, when I saw that trailer, not only is Matt Reeves doing an absolutely amazing job at directing, and I'm freaking excited about this movie, only other than like 1, maybe 2 things. I was skeptical when I heard Patterson was Batman. When we saw the suit reveal, that was dope, and I like how his Batman insignia is the bolt, or the gun that killed his parents. I love that. That's never been done, and that's amazing. And I love how he is the nitty-gritty Batman. And I did like the points you were making in the sense of this is going to be a very broken and very corrupt Gotham, which that's definitely how it was when he first started out. But we never really got to see it that well. It was only kind of like for example, in Batman Begins, it wasn't that broken. It was like, oh, this is a little corrupt here and there. No, from what we were looking at, it looks Like that's why I was a little confused at first, but I understand it now when you said London,
Yeah.
because it's kind of giving that feel where
Of
everything.
factions.
Yes.
Like legit factions.
It is literally broken up into factions of gangs, which is how it always was in Year Zero. Even in the Arkham games, that's how it was.
Mhm.
And now with, like, for example, the Riddler coming into the fold to make him the world's greatest detective, which is basically what's going to happen. This is going to make him the detective. And I liked the whole interactions with him and Jim Gordon, because Jim Gordon looks like the only guy. Like, if we watch Gotham, Jim Gordon was, at least at first, was the only one that was like, I'm gonna do good. Yeah. But then Gotham went Gotham, and anyways.
Yeah.
But this Jim Gordon, I like the actor Jeffrey Wright. I liked the actor. I was skeptical with him being Jim Gordon, but after seeing that, I think he's gonna do a pretty good job. I mean, I didn't like the fact that they kind of like didn't choose the correct race, but like I said, I think he's gonna do a good job anyways, because he's a great actor and he's gonna fit the role pretty well. I mean, we did have like, what is it, like two Jim Gordons in like the span of like 2 to 3 years, but I liked how all of the other cops are super skeptical of Batman, and it wasn't in a cheesy way where they're like, oh, he gets things done, whatever. Like, there was that one scene in the trailer where whatever happened, he almost fought the cop, and Jim had to pull him aside, and all the other cops were about to jump him, which we know he probably would kick their ass.
Like I'm saying, he's a broken Batman.
Yes, he's a broken man, and I'm excited for that, because that's going to be amazing to see him unfold. Like at the end of the trailer, where he literally just destroyed that child. He's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, destroys his entire way of living. He's like, "I'm vengeance," and I'm like, dude, literal chills, like literal chills. Like,
and I mean, just seeing the tones through the whole thing, the red that was constantly shown.
Yes, there's
like,
a lot of red.
Thing. Also, Panda, you have Netflix, right? Or do you have Netflix?
No.
Dang. Okay. Because I was about to say, there's a movie called The Devil All the Time, which Robert Pattinson was in, and so was Tom Holland.
I've seen that, and I wanted to watch it.
And that was fantastic as well. So like, that's another situation. It's just like he was so young when he was in Twilight. He was so young. So young.
I mean, again, like Zeus said, that could have just been writing. Because
it was 100%.
The writing was terrible in that. Like, no,
it was.
I would never understand the hype behind it. Yeah, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I am excited for Patterson becoming Batman. Catwoman, I don't necessarily think is needed in there. I'm not a big fan of the actress that's playing her either. Other than that, I think everything else is going to be great. You have the Penguin in there, which Colin Farrell looks amazing as the Penguin.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was shocking. I was like, whoa.
Which was amazing, And the Riddler, not necessarily in the green suit, but a whole like Hush vibe. I
love his vibe. Like his vibe, I was like,
I was like, this man looks like he's about to just destroy your world with riddles. And I'm thoroughly excited for that. I kind of wish it was part of the DCEU, however, just because of the fact that could change everything. Like with Flashpoint, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. If they just reboot everything and started off with the Batman, and it's not even about necessarily doing everything connected, how they went with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League. If they have them all individually and just do little Easter eggs, and then one event happens throughout all of them that kind of leads them into like a new Justice League, for example, that would be fine. Like I said, the War of Three Jokers, I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch, but that's another thing that they could do to connect things as well. But
bro, the JLID, Justice League Interdimensions, and it's literally just like groups of Batmans and Supermans.
They could do death metal.
Oh, dude, there's so many.
Where you have all the dark Batman. Oh, dude, that would be dope. I want to see that live action. That would be freaking amazing. Rated R, of course, but amazing.
Right.
Yeah. That's. Have they confirmed what Pattinson's Batman is rated?
Not at the current moment.
I'm pretty sure they're going to go PG-13. If they go, I don't think they're going to go hard, but I think if it was R, it's like a light R. It's a hard PG-13, but a light R is what I'm getting at.
I know.
Basically, yeah. So if you're wanting an R-rated Batman with Pattinson, it's not going to happen.
I know.
Maybe. I mean, they do.
It's a possibility, but I don't see it playing out that way.
Yeah, they could do something like that.
Doing an R-rated movie.
I'll say one thing: if they actually get into the House of Owls and talk about the corruption with that, it'll go R, because those people are disgusting human beings.
They're pretty nasty.
The House of Owls, like child sex trade, sex trafficking, killing children. Like they are into every cannibals. It's crazy.
the Court of Owls is one thing that was semi-teased and everyone thinks is going to be the big thing for this. I kind of hope they don't do it off the bat, or at least in the first 2 movies.
No. So
Play it out a little bit.
I talked to one of my friends, and he was talking about a really good idea is just to do it like how they did Thanos in the MCU. You slowly implement, like, maybe even introduce some characters that only comic people would understand are tied to the House of Owls. And like Thomas and Martha Wayne in the comics were tied to the House of Owls. That's where like some of the stars. So maybe it's something. Maybe at the end when that scene where like, so I actually think the scene at the very end of the trailer is one of the last scenes in the movie where Batman like doesn't have his cowl on, his hair's messed up, and he's over this computer, and the Riddler's talking to him. I think the Riddler was able to speak to him at some point and he wasn't able to get the Riddler, and then he goes back and he's like distraught, angry at himself, and he like maybe like clicks on his computer or something like that.
Spoiler
or like even
alert,
just like slams that type. That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. So yeah, spoiler alert. And like he does that, and then like he sees like a file that was sent to him by an anonymous, which would be like the Riddler, and it explains how his parents were like intertwined within the House of O, or it's like HOO, which is what like their big thing, or you even see the crest.
It could be CO,
or you see the crest. If you see the crest of the House of Owls, then that type of thing. But something along those lines, I think if they slowly implement it in, and if that Gotham show tries to push a lot of it into it, then I think it might be the next, like it might be the next Thanos. It'd be crazy because it's not like a superhero villain. Like it's not a superpowered villain.
It is a organization.
It's like the Illuminati,
basically.
Which, I mean, is Batman out of the realm of being hurt by the Illuminati? Like it's just like, how much power do they have? It's like that's where it's like crazy.
How far can you go with that?
I know.
And I hope they don't do the Gotham. I honestly hope they just cancel that show because it's redundant. You already have a Gotham show. And the fact that, yes, this is going to take place before the Batman, there's no need. No one asked for it. It's not needed whatsoever. I mean, we already have a Gotham show about Jim Gordon and everything that takes place before and up to Batman. Like, there was no reason for any of this.
Yeah.
It's like that Krypton show that came out.
Which apparently that's DC EU canon.
The Krypton show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is supposedly DC EU canon.
I mean, I know it's Clark's like great grandfather, which
and it's sci-fi, so you know
it's like Ur-El and Jar-El and
I've never seen it, but I heard it is canon just because it didn't really catch my hunger.
Well, I mean, it's on sci-fi, so it's like you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and it's on the DC Universe app, and I think now it's on HBO Max. So
I believe I did see it on the HBO Max.
Then it is.
Once it hits HBO Max, you know it's DCEU.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Dang it.
Actually, you know what? Let me pull it up. I have it on my phone right now.
Honestly, though, with the Gotham PD, it would be cool to see them spin it to where maybe because everything is going to be corrupt, essentially, in this new Batman, it would be really cool to see him spin it to where like the Gotham PD tells the story of like the corrupt side of the PD. Like, if there is such a thing, if they wanted to delve into that, that would be kind of cool and a good way to do it to make the show interesting. But I don't know.
So I would like it if it is coming out after the Batman movie, correct?
What, Gotham PD?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. I think it comes out beforehand, but let me check.
So that if it came out, way to spin it.
So here's the thing: if it came out after, what they could do is kind of like what I said, where they introduced that Martha and Thomas were implemented more into the House of Owls, and if the Gotham Police, Gotham PD, it's stupid.
It's the Gotham.
But if Gotham PD had more to do with like Martha and Thomas Wayne, then that'd be cool. We've never really seen a lot on his parents, except for the fact that they die in every single Batman movie ever.
Honestly, that's another thing.
Except for what's it called? Well, except for George Clooney's, and
we don't talk about that movie. We do not talk. He
didn't happen in Val Kilmer's, did he?
No. Okay, hold on. So to your point, they didn't die in Dark Knight. They didn't even touch about it in Dark Knight Rises, did they?
Rises. I mean, there may have been.
Wait, Dark Knight Rises.
There may be a flashback to
Returns.
the cave,
One of the two.
Oh, you're talking about
What is
Christian Bale trilogy, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I
there's
mean,
touched
yeah,
upon
it's the first one started with it, so the first one had it.
and there was like little tidbits here and there about it.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't
Okay,
implement it in
okay,
every movie, but what I'm saying is like
Yes.
every Batman
Origin.
has shown that his parents died. Where it's
Every
like,
new origin that they have, they've touched
yeah,
on it.
it's like how often can you guys beat a dead horse? Like poor Bruce, he just needs to keep.
And then you
It's
see
like
Batman
it's
v
like
Superman,
MCU
and he
finally
gets-
learned about Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. I'm glad we didn't get that with Tom Holland, like straight up.
Like they finally learned with Tom Holland to not beat the dead horse with Uncle Ben.
I mean, not
Yeah.
shoot
Like I
Uncle
was
Ben.
so happy when we didn't have another origin story with that.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
So far, there's no specific release date for it.
Okay.
From what?
'Cause what
Well,
I'm
if
saying
they, yeah,
Yeah, if it were to be Martha and Thomas Wayne, I'd be fine with it. Because the only thing is, I don't want it to be like, oh, we're going to make 10 seasons. Like, nah, keep it one season just to provide a little bit of context if that's what
and
you
then
want to
drop
do.
it.
Yep, that's it. Like,
Yep.
don't make it, I was like, don't make it Game of Thrones and kill it with a last season that didn't need to be there.
Last season was
But
awesome.
just let it
Talking
happen.
about that though.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to take place beforehand, but there's no specific release date. The Batman's supposed to come out in March of 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
Fantastic.
so we're thinking probably January, February then.
If it comes out beforehand, yeah, but it doesn't
Mhm.
even. Says Gotham PD goes back to year one of the Batman's emergence while following through the point of view of these corrupt cops.
Oh, so it is, so Batman's in it.
Apparently, Batman's in it.
Okay, if they do that, I'm fine with it. But the fact that everyone was talking like, oh, it's before Jim Gordon, I was like, why?
No,
Like, literally, why?
Jim Gordon is in it, from what I'm reading.
Okay, I think he's a.
So, but it
he's
is going to
just
touch on the corrupt side of the PD.
It is. It is going to touch. It is going to touch on the corruption of it.
There you
Good.
go.
Let me see
long as they do that.
here.
There you go. As long as they can stick to that for a season, we're good.
Yeah. And
Because
then,
that would tie in, and they do it before
Put a
the
pin in
movie.
it.
'Cause it would exactly.
And
'Cause
this
it
is
would tie
going.
in
This is
so
from straight
perfectly.
the director saying Gotham PD goes back to year one of Batman's emergence.
okay.
So and it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be Jim. It's going to be from the perspective of Jim and most likely his partner, through this perspective.
Bullock?
So I guess the Batman's not necessarily year zero, more of year two.
No, that's what he is. Yeah, they said he was year 2.
Mhm.
Okay,
He's
Well,
been
I-
around. He's
I
been
heard a
doing
lot
it
of
for
year
a certain
one,
amount.
year zero. I heard a lot of those. So that's why
Okay.
I got that.
Yeah.
I think it's already been confirmed year 2 though.
Yeah, because they talked
Correct.
about looking at his Batcave and what he has, and like how it is. Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
Also, very random tangent. I actually am making a project car, and the project car is Robert Pattinson's Batmobile.
That's freaking delicious.
Because I found out
Okay.
everything that goes into it, and it's pretty sick. And
Tell
it's
me
not
why they
super
have
expensive.
Steel on HBO Max.
Steel.
That's
with
a little.
Shaquille
That's
O'Neal.
weird.
Oh,
That's nasty.
Hmm.
But no, Krypton's actually not on here. I was mistaken. Apologies. It's not on HBO Max.
Okay,
You
so
have
maybe it's not
Titans.
canon anymore.
Well, it's not necessarily that it's not canon because the first season was supposed to be canon, which it probably is or was.
second
but-
season got canceled, so
It
Then-
just hasn't made its way onto HBO Max yet.
Yeah, it's probably eventually gonna get there anyways. But
Probably.
you know what would be cool?
Hmm.
So I know that they want to do different decades with the Green Lantern Corps.
okay.
Have there
no.
be a lantern from the Krypton area that's even mentioned? That would kind of be sick.
I've
Be a
never seen
cute little
Krypton.
tie-in. Well, I mean, you don't need to see it. I only watched a couple of episodes and was like I watched it because Smallville. I was like, oh, I like Smallville, so maybe I like this. And then I was like, wow,
Oh,
this
like
is
other
not
terrible shows.
this is not good. Like this is not good at all. So
Yeah, I liked Gotham season 1 and 2, but then when they got kind of too into villain origins and whatnot, and Barbara was being more crazy than usual, which Barbara was always kind of crazy.
dude,
But
she was
She
bad.
was psychotic, and
She was
yeah, it was
she made me
very
uncomfortable.
it was definitely uncomfortable. I'm glad they're not going that route with this show, but I don't know, man. The DCEU has a lot to work on. My whole thing, and this goes back to my Flashpoint point, is if they just do Flashpoint to get rid of everything, and then just wipe the slate clean and be like, by then the Batman is probably already out, and then they should be already in development of the second Batman movie. They should be like, this is the new thing. We're not, and this is what they tried to do earlier. They said, we're not going to do any more universes. We're just going to do standalone stuff, which is fine. You weren't successful in doing a universe anyways, mostly because you put the weight on one man's shoulders without any warning from my perspective. I mean, there could have been warning on his side. He could have completely been like, yeah, let me just do it. I want to. But stuff happens, didn't go through. And Reeves is already pulling a Zack Snyder in a sense by building his own universe around his Batman.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and well, really what has always worked for DC is building it on Batman and or Superman. Really, Batman as of late, as the past several years, has been the most successful in his characters. So building it off of that, just Reeves after Flashpoint, like that, all you have is this. And they're not saying that this is the DCEU. This is the worlds of DC. I mean, you can say the worlds of DC just so the fact that you can have multiverse and keep it separate. But then if you start to like,
well, that's the whole extended universe,
right? But it's the way they branded it off was just bad. You know, they did DCEU, they did DCU and then DCEU, and now Worlds of DC. But now they're back to DCEU. It's weird. They just need to just wipe the slate clean and just start over, and don't have everything specifically connect. You just need to have them as they are, Easter egg it. I mean, kind of like with Iron Man. Yes, Iron Man, they were almost in like directly like, hey, we're gonna do Avengers, but it took like what two Iron Man movies, and then a bunch of standalone movies, but none of them specifically said like, hey, this is the threat. It was more of like a teaser of their own individual threat, like, hey, connect this.
See, but
no,
but that's
the first
where,
Avengers came out before the second Iron Man. Because Iron Man was dealing with panic attacks because of New York.
Oh,
that's why everyone was like,
you're
holy
thinking
crap.
Iron Man 3.
Let me look this up.
Iron Man 3 is the one when he has the panic attacks.
No, then Iron Man 3 is after.
Iron Man 3 is after the first, is after that, yeah, for sure. But I'm gonna look this up anyways.
Yeah,
I think you might be right with Iron Man 2. But anyway, that's where a lot of people have the misconception about DC, though.
Yeah, because the house gets destroyed.
Iron Man 2 comes out in 2010, Avengers comes out in 2012. Iron Man 3 comes out directly after Avengers in 2013.
So Iron Man 3 is when he has the PTSD.
Yeah.
And the panic attacks from it.
So yes, I was right.
So, okay, but see, this is, and you've made a couple of points like this, and I disagree with you in the sense that, yes, that worked for Marvel, but DC isn't Marvel. DC is not trying to be like Marvel. Yeah. And in my opinion, DC is doing a better job than Marvel in the sense of production-wise and whatnot, because I thoroughly enjoy watching DC movies a lot more than I do Marvel movies. Only because the Marvel movies feel really dragged out. Okay. It's same storyline dragged out between all the movies, and it's just it gets boring to me. Yes, I love the Marvel universe. I don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the Marvel universe. I love it. You know, I grew up with it. But DCEU has done a great job of getting to the point. In my opinion, way better action sequences, better story. Rather than we're just going to drag this all along through however many movies we're going to do it, and then boom, 2 big movies to end it all, and now we're going to start from scratch again. Yeah. Do I agree that the execution from DCEU has been kind of flawed? Yes. They could have done a better job with it. However, I don't think they need to do the same thing Marvel does and dragging along through 3, 4, 5 movies before you get to the big universe one. You know what I mean? Justice League, had it been done correctly the first time, would have been a great way to do it.
Right, and that's fine. I'm not necessarily saying that's the route they should go with. I'm just saying they could always do it where they're all standalone-ish. There's just Easter eggs here and there, and if they do like a Justice League event or an Avengers level threat, they could have it where their individual movie leading up will have some kind of tidbit that connects it to that. Because MCU knows what they're doing. They're successful in what they're doing, so taking tidbits from that would work. I'm not saying replicate it. I'm just saying that is an opportunity that they could go with Flashpoint.
So here's one thing when it comes to like the future of both of these, actually, because we're kind of like we're at the point where we're like kind of comparing back and forth. I believe within the next 5 years, DC will catch up and be equal to Marvel. The reason being is Disney pulled the Disney Plus card and said, oh, this is great. We can just make shows on this and people will start by. So they made Disney Plus in the idea of like, we can get more people on Disney Plus and stay consistent with it. For example, HBO actually said that they're really thinking about releasing the Snyder Cut consecutive one day, like back to back to back of days, where with that, that kind of shows from a business perspective, that shows number one, they don't care about people getting on and staying on with HBO. They care about people watching something that they've wanted for a long time. Where you have Disney, where they're like, oh, we're going to release The Mandalorian, but we're going to do it one episode at a time so that no matter what, they will have to pay for at least 1 month. So Disney likes to make money. They like to abide with the masses. Whatever the masses say to do, Disney does. That's why the MCU has had so many specific characters come into play that were kind of unnecessary and kind of didn't give a proper portrayal of the character. DC has never really done that. They had Birds of Prey, which they didn't even use like a big director, a big producer or anything. They were like, people want some of this, so let's just throw it out there, see what happens. It didn't do well. They've said nothing more about it.
Nope.
Like they haven't even mentioned a second or anything or a sequel or anything. Because they saw, okay, this isn't gonna make us money. Also, there wasn't a good response to it. They also dropped it during quarantine or like right around with quarantine.
Right before it happened, I think.
Wasn't the best time for it. Now, then they see that people are like, okay, like
the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, the Snyder Cut is the biggest thing for me because it shows DC likes their fan base more so than making money. And what you're dealing with DC as its own entity being part of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has say in it, obviously. But when you look at the MCU is Disneyified. Disney is the MCU, and they run everything
Marvel
to do with
at this point. Anyway,
I know.
Kevin Feige.
So that's what I'm saying is you have one entity. So the whole Kevin Feige thing is a blessing and a curse. DC doesn't need that because the tones, I mean, you look at even the animated shows and movies, they all have different tones to themselves. That's why the DCU was great, because it was just DC, everything. There's different things going on. They had the Teen Titans, Justice League Dark, they had Young Justice. All of those shows were great on their own. They all had different themes to them. Even Teen Titans Go, the movie, was kind of funny. Like there was just certain things. I watched it. I have a niece and nephew. Chill out.
I watched a little sibling.
I brought them to go with me. That's disrespectful. You got to bring your siblings to go see it.
That wasn't my sibling. I'm gonna disown you. You think this is entertaining?
Oh my gosh.
Let me show you some.
I mean, the only thing that I liked from the Teen Titans Go movie is that they brought the original Teen Titans in.
Also,
that's
the only thing Stan Lee was in it. Stan Lee was in it.
That too.
This is hilarious. That was so funny to me.
But that's about the only thing that I liked from that movie.
I thought it was comical and it was entertaining because it was just like it was a train wreck. No, it was not Teen Titans. I'm not comparing it to Teen Titans, but it was funny as its own movie. But that's
because it was a literal train wreck.
But that's the good thing about the DCU. They do whatever they want to and they don't care. That movie was made for kids. It wasn't made for a fan base, but they knew that kids would watch it. The kids watch the shows, so let's make a movie for them. We grew up with the Teen Titans show, so we like the Teen Titans show. We're not going to go see that show, but they know that. They know their fan base. Yeah, they know that. Well, yeah, that Titans show was kind of blah, blah, blah.
There's 2 or 3 things that really made it bad. Season 2 was a lot better though.
I know, and like the whole like Batman beating the crap out of people at the end of season 1 was just like.
And then they're like, oh yeah, that wasn't necessarily real, and I was like. What?
Yeah, I know. There was so much to it. I was like, I don't know what's going on. All right, let's start.
It goes into so much.
But yeah, I just think DC will be able to level a little bit more with MCU because, especially the next phase for the MCU is going to be. Honestly, there's a lot going on, and there's so much speculation that. And again, it goes back to the thing. DC likes to keep their stuff under wraps. MCU, they're talking about Spider-Verse. They're casting specific people at certain times. They're saying those people are also being in different.
Telling people.
I know. So it's like you're setting us all up, and we can expect whatever we want, but if it's not what we expect, sometimes less is more. And DC has shown that. This new Batman movie, they don't release a lot about it. There's like pictures that are shown and people are like, is that Superman? And then DC's like, I don't know, is it?
We ain't gonna say. We ain't gonna tell you. Figure it out.
You can blow up that picture. I don't know. Maybe the dude he's like, maybe it was Halloween. Maybe they wanted to wear a Superman
They put an accidental schmutz in there. They're like, oh, that wasn't supposed to be there. Oh, it's this huge Easter egg, guys. Well, let them think that.
Yeah,
let them figure it out.
That's why I've liked the DC, because I am thoroughly surprised by some of the stuff that they do.
Exactly.
And like, MCU is great. I love Spider-Man. My dad raised me on Spider-Man in the MCU, but it's just like, after a while, like rewatching the Iron Man, I rewatched it from 1 to 3.
Oh, God.
I loved Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1 was so good.
It was awesome.
Like, there was some great stuff to that. And then I saw over time how they just like kept pushing different themes. They kept doing stuff, and I was just like, okay, I see where you're going with it.
Maybe.
Like, is it necessary? So that's why I think DC will be able to level. I don't think they'll pull ahead. They won't pull ahead unless Marvel screws up. Like, if Marvel just stays consistent,
they've done it a couple of times.
I know, but if Marvel just stays consistent, and I think now with Marvel and Sony trying to figure some stuff out, because they're doing a lot of Spider-Man stuff, and Sony has a lot of those rights. So,
they have all of the rights.
So, like, Marvel needs to be very careful with a lot of that stuff. So that's why that's really what I see is, like, I'd love to see them even and actually see them start competing, because right now DC's not competing. They're getting ready. Like, they're pulling a Batman. They're having their prep time. They've got their prep time right now. And if they could, they might be able to balance with the Superman. But right now, they're just Batman prep time.
The DCEU was the warm-up. They got their butt whooped. They're like, now we know what to expect. Here comes the real game.
They learned from their mistakes. They learned people didn't like the Joss Whedon. So they were like, you know what? We'll redo it. We will, because you guys want it. That right there, I was like, listen, like, they listened. Like, yes.
Now, let me ask y'all this. With the Snyder Cut being released, do y'all think that's going to help DC push towards Marvel?
Yeah.
In the sense of competition?
In the sense of competition, yes.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What it will do, it's not... So, it'll possibly bring new fans to it, but it will bring back the fans that were pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And those fans, DC fans are diehard, because DC plays on emotions, and they play on pain, which a lot of people connect better with pain. Being a psychological perspective, people connect with pain more so than they do with happiness. That's why news is better when it's negative. Nobody listens to happy news. Everyone listens to negative news. So when you have a negative aspect to a lot of like, dude, there is not. If you grew up in the age of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, you're gonna remember that. You will 100%. Not forget that. Every Joker that comes out, you will compare to Heath Ledger. Because every Batman that comes out, you will compare to Christian Bale. Now with us, if they make another Iron Man, that's the thing. We always see different iterations of the same characters over time so that we can understand different ones. The MCU, they do this good. They have a character, they make him play one person through a long period of time, then they remove them, that character's done. There won't be a recasting of Iron Man.
Nope.
There just won't. There won't be a recasting of Captain America.
Nope.
There would never be a recasting of Thor.
Nope.
So it's two different universes with different dynamics in the sense of this is set. You'll learn these people as these characters. This, however, we want to show you perspectives. And it's the whole idea of, like, Marvel doesn't have the multiverse. They kind of have the multiverse, but it's through timeline basis, which is a little bit funkier.
They're not there yet.
DC has worlds. They have universes. They have galaxies that are all separate from each other. It's crazy what the DC has with that stuff. And they have comics that go in depth.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just it'll be pretty crazy. I think that it will bring back the OG fans that were really mad, and it will allow that to... Them making that come out first before the Batman is smart, because people get excited for that, then it will lead back in, and the people that got back on the bandwagon will hop on with the Batman. Because I know people were skeptical with Pattinson, so
a lot of people
it'll snap.
I think
it'll
most people
snap
that saw the trailer are already on board now.
Yeah,
Because
I
the
mean, I was
solid
on
like
board.
it.
I watched that trailer so many times.
Dude, when it first came out, I watched it 10 times. Like, I kid you not. It
I
never-
literally,
I need to go back and watch it.
goosebumps.
I'm gonna go
Bro,
watch it
it's
after
so
this now.
good. It's so good. I like legit. It's so good.
So I'm gonna say my point, and then we're gonna kind of just wrap this up here.
Sure.
But, basically, I think DC has always been the front runner competition for Marvel. They've always had the potential.
Yeah.
One,
Yeah.
I believe their characters are a lot better. They're more in depth. They're more relatable. They're less flashy in the sense of like colorful and their storylines. Like you were saying earlier, Waji, like a lot of their characters and their backstories is based off of pain, and people relate more to pain. That's why like the Joker. Sure, like both the Arthur Fleck version and Heath Ledger were the best Jokers we have seen in a long time because of how they portrayed it for one, and how the story around them was as well. Arthur Fleck one, that one as a standalone movie was beautiful. Lots of people loved it because it was the psychological deterioration of the average man, and everyone is ideally the average man, and they can relate to it so well. And DC does such a great job with it. Like with a lot of their storylines, like with Death Metal, it goes into the fall of so many Batman in so many different ways, and them coming back evil. That's a great storyline that is always, you know, something that continues on. Superman, most people isn't really a fan of him, but like Superman Doomsday, for example, where Superman died, and then the rise of the Superman, that's always one of the favorite storylines because it's the fall of an icon that it was supposedly indestructible in a sense. And I think if DC can get their stuff right, and they not necessarily use those specific storylines that I just mentioned, but start to implement more story, like the Christopher Nolan trilogy, that wasn't meant to build up a universe. Matt Reeves is somewhat doing the same way, but more Zack Snyder, where he's building a universe around his character, and that's fine. You can have multiple universes, or you can go the route I was saying and have them all connected, but just not really say anything about it. Because DC, they don't necessarily, they don't need to. They could all be connected, and we could not know it because it's not relevant at the time. They are pretty under wraps, and it keeps everything so much better because then you don't know what to expect. There's podcasts like these where we have all this speculation. We could be way off, or we could be spot on. We don't know.
Exactly.
And then there's, you know, situations where they appeal to the fan base, like the Snyder Cut. Everyone was so distraught over the Justice League flop, the Joss Whedon League, we should say, because it wasn't what we were wanting or expecting in the sense of what we were proposed with from the first trailer. And ever since then, everyone wanted the Snyder Cut. If this was the MCU, we would never have gotten this, straight up. Disney would not have cared.
Nope.
But because it's DC, and yes, it's their own entity, but they do work with Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers is filthy rich. They have a lot of big franchises under their belts. They don't necessarily need to release this. They are releasing this to bring in more audiences, more fan base, not necessarily more money because they already have HBO Max, which has more stuff there, but it is appealing and to bring more people in for their future projects. And I'm sure they're going to, you know, like we said, we're having the Green Lantern Corps that's going to be on HBO Max. There's Gotham PD that's going to be on there. Justice League Dark. So, yes, it is going to kind of semi-launch to bring more people to watch those series/movies, depending on how they go with it. But that's one thing that I've always liked about DC was they aren't like the bright and cuddly, you know, universe. They are the nitty-gritty. They're the more realistic, in a sense, of the superhero universes.
Well, just the Nolan trilogy.
The Nolan
That's
trilogy
the
alone,
most.
yeah.
It's just super.
Even
realistic.
Joker, that's like the most realistic depiction.
Well, I told Panda in the stream, and I was like, "You either die a trilogy, or you live long enough to see yourself become Batman and Robin."
Yep.
That's it.
We're gonna end on that note because that's beautiful. This was a little bit longer of a podcast because there's a lot more stuff to talk about in this episode. We will have more DC podcast episodes later for sure because there's such a huge universe. We can't fit this all in one episode. But definitely let us know what you think about the Snyder Cut in the comments, or if you're listening to this on Spotify, follow us on Twitter at Block Party Fun, and share it to your friends, and let's see what everybody thinks about this stuff. We'll wrap it up here for this long podcast. I really have to take a piss, but I'm Captain Zeus. We have the Waji and the relatable Panda over there, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.
Adios.
Peace.